Hannah, can I read you something?
Please.
Here it is. Generally, the tartare was interesting but monotextural because the jicama had lost its bite, aside from the 5 grasshoppers. That is in reference to a restaurant called Comal.
Okay.
4 p.m. solo chovy toast and lambrusco. Are you kidding me? That is someone talking about Rodora in
I know what you're
Clinton
doing.
Hill, I believe. And that someone is you.
I knew what you were doing.
And those quotes
You're setting me up.
like quotes from a foodie. Would you consider yourself a foodie? Have you ever called yourself a foodie?
No, I've never called myself a foodie. I'm a foodie in the eyes of all of my relatives. They're like, oh, Hannah, my niece, she's a foodie. Oh, you'd like this person, Hannah, because they're a foodie too.
Right, so I don't think it's up to you. I think once you get that label from somebody else, once they apply it to you,
Really?
you are a foodie. I think that might be how it works. Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to be a foodie. Hi, I'm Hannah Albertine, senior editor at Infatuation. My grandma calls me a foodie.
And I'm Bryan Kim, editorial lead in NYC for Infatuation. In 2017, I tried a rainbow bagel, and it wasn't bad.
And this is Restaurant People, the show for people who eat at restaurants sometimes, from Infatuation.
Today on Restaurant People, we're talking about the concept of foodies. We all know the word, but what does it actually mean? Is being a foodie a bad thing, or do they just need better PR?
First, we'll try to define the term foodie and its many subcategories. Then, we get to hang out with iconic foodie, Mike Chau, a.k.a. FoodBaby, to discuss his experience with the term and what it's like to exist in the world of foodies today.
Finally, we're joined by fellow podcaster and food enthusiast Jason Stewart to give us a glimmer of hope for the foodie's future. All of this and more on today's episode of Restaurant People.
So, foodie clearly has a kind of cringe connotation, and no matter what you mean by foodie, even just the term in 2025 feels a little like, ugh. Do you think that foodies need a rebrand?
I think that a rebrand would be highly beneficial for foodies, at least at first, until people started making fun of the next term, you know?
Yeah, right.
But we can all recognize that the word foodie does sound kind of silly.
It's a silly word.
So what's next? How do we rebrand it? Because I think that it would be in both of our interests because, like it or not, we're foodies, right?
Right.
We fall into the foodie camp. We're just a specific kind of foodie, not necessarily better than any other kind of foodie.
That's right.
But
I mean,
we are foodies.
I'm not anti-foodie. I'm anti bad behavior foodies, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, I think my friends who work in the restaurant industry have a really negative connotation with foodies because they associate them with people who pretend to know a lot about restaurants or food, but maybe they don't actually. People who pull out ring lights at restaurants.
The term foodie is, first off, not a term we use at the Infatuation.
Yeah.
And do you know why that is?
Yeah, it's literally on our banned word list. And Arden, our editor-in-chief, her policy about why we don't say foodie is that we're not necessarily anti-foodie, but foodieism tends to fetishize fancy schmancy cooking and also sort of glorifies chefs and glorifies the word yummy and whatever the current rainbow bagel craze is. So instead of that, we want to focus on the whole restaurant experience and also recommend great restaurants for very specific situations and dining experiences and not just cater to whatever a trend is or a chef is doing. Feels like a little Food Network-y bow down. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I think those
Yeah.
are all good reasons. I think the main reason that I don't love using the word foodie is because it is so vague. It can
So
have
vague.
so many different meanings.
Means so many things to so many different people.
There are so many different types of foodie, and I think we could easily just break out a bunch of different subtypes, categories, different categories of foodie. So what do you got? What are the subcategories of foodie? Right off the bat, obviously, there is the social media foodie.
That's right. These foodies like fads. They like posting. They like lines. Maybe they take one bite of a burger.
So we have the social media foodies, and then next we have know-it-all foodies?
Know-it-all foodies. They love information, and they want you to know that they love information. So they're keeping spreadsheets. They're into authentic stuff. They will keep track of which Irish pub Bourdain went to on his New York episode.
Sure, who doesn't do that?
They are perhaps amateur chefs.
That's me.
They love to whip up a complicated recipe at home.
Oh, I love doing that.
I think you might be a know-it-all foodie.
Part of me definitely falls into this category, know-it-all foodie.
For sure.
Social media foodie a bit as well, and you are also a bit of social media foodie as well.
Yeah, I'll post sometimes, for sure.
After the know-it-all foodies, I think we have something we call the try-it-all foodie.
Yeah.
Which is a little vague. Do you want to explain that one?
Yeah, the try-it-all foodies are like, if it exists, I must eat it. Maybe they're really into offal. Maybe they have a tinned fish collection in their pantry. Maybe they are a little performative in that way. We've been there. Like they buy, a certain needlefish, cured needlefish on their trip to Portugal, and they bring it home and they just don't ever eat it.
Is this the same thing as like a foodie who just needs to try every Greek spot in Astoria, or is that like a know-it-all foodie?
I think that's a know-it-all foodie because it's more about like they're gonna try all the stuff in all the Greek restaurants in Astoria so that they can tell you which their favorite is.
Okay.
A try-it-all is more like that's you
That's
for
cool.
sure.
You like tin fish. There's a bit of performative foodie in you.
Yeah, and also I'm down with dare food. I'm down for like a blood sausage panna cotta.
Oh, that
I've
sounds
had
good, actually.
I've had pig blood panna cotta.
Yeah, it sounds not
good.
bad.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
There's also, I would say, like establishment foodies. I don't really know how to describe this one, but I will
Food writers,
tell
it's
you,
us.
I go out with food writers kind of a lot. You know what all
You
food
mean our
writers do?
coworkers?
Yeah, our coworkers.
Yeah.
You know what food writers do that
What?
really just makes me angry?
What?
Complain about tomatoes, the quality of tomatoes. I don't know what it is above all produce. It's always a tomato.
Oh, that's a mealy tomato. Oh, how
Yeah.
dare they serve us? Totally.
Oh, that tomato.
You know what I do
ripe.
is the whole summer I'm like, look at that tomato. Look at it. Look it in the eye.
Yeah,
beautiful.
I think tomato snobs are their
This
own
is-
category of foodie.
Yeah.
I think it's fine to be a tomato snob. I'm a snob about things too. I'm just saying it makes me really angry.
I'm
irrationally.
definitely, of course, we're both in the food writer establishment foodies. Like, we're going to say, wow, look at that skate wing slick with lardo.
The word slick.
Slick is definitely
Slick.
for sure.
You use the word slick referring to food. You are a foodie.
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 Also, foodies with passports. They'll go to Mexico City to try pujol.
That sounds like you.
For sure. And then we have a different bucket, the pre-internet foodie.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about those?
Pre-internet foodies, I don't know a lot about them because, I'm a post-internet
So you're young.
kind
Yeah,
of guy.
we get it.
Yeah, but I would assume that my parents aren't foodies. So, no. That's wrong. They are. But not really restaurant-y. They cook a lot.
Yeah, that counts.
Your parents
Does their
foodies?
kitchen look like Tuscany?
It did at one point, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does their adult son tell them to go to Taqueria Ramirez when they come to visit Brooklyn?
Yes,
For
absolutely.
sure. Okay, so they are pre-internet foodies. My father is definitely a pre-internet foodie. Prolific diners in maybe the 80s and 90s, and maybe even the early aughts. They started collecting Zagat books. They would go to the bookstore when Zagat dropped and see how many restaurants they'd been to.
Okay.
Also, maybe they have a subscription to Wine Spectator, the
Wine
magazine.
Spectator, of course.
Yeah.
Next, I think we have something called the entry-level foodie.
Oh, I love these ones.
That's someone who's they're dipping their toes in.
They're trying
They're
it.
seeing if it fits them, right? Somebody who is beginning to notice what the seasons are for vegetables.
That's right. They're like, oh, artichokes. Okay, spring.
Yeah, that's
Spring. I think of the entry-level foodies as people who follow the social media foodies online and they're absorbing that foodie content.
Mm-hmm.
So they know about the Molly Baz mayo. Maybe they're going to buy it, maybe not. But they also are starting to think about, maybe I'll do a little cooking hack. Maybe I'll do the Emily Mariko salmon.
And then we have one more kind. What is it?
The status foodie.
The status foodie.
These foodies are clout chasing. They maybe have a corporate card or a lot of money. They could be wine bro foodies. They could be wearing sneakers and T-shirts to fine dining restaurants where they really are just there for the wine. It's nice that the food is fine.
And they're maybe interested in restaurants that have received awards.
Accolades. Yeah, they're big into the lauded restaurants.
Mm-hmm. And I've done that too. I've gone on to, when I'm traveling and I'm looking for restaurants, I'll inevitably end up on an awards page and I'll be like, well, I'll look around at these restaurants and see if I want to go to any of them. So
yeah,
I've done some clout chasing in my day.
Of course.
Specifically in Paris.
You want to check it out. Oh, in Paris.
A little in Greece.
Oh.
I've clout chased.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong inherently with being any of these foodies. Like, we all at Infatuation have a little bit of each. We kind of have to. That's our jobs.
There's a little bit right and a little bit wrong with every single one of them, maybe.
Well, it's like each one can be a little ridiculous. For sure.
Yeah, we're all our own brand of ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right.
But hey, those are just our thoughts. Let's talk to some actual foodies. Get some foodies in the studio. And
some live foodies?
Some live foodies and get their
foodies
thoughts.
With heartbeats?
Foodies with heartbeats. Let's get their thoughts on the subject right now.
All right.
Right now, we have a guest in studio. It is Mike Chau, also known as FoodBabyNY, here to help us discuss the origins of foodies.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank
Food
you
Father.
so much for stopping by. Food Dad.
Papa.
That's what
Food
they call
Father
me.
of 3.
Food Poppy.
Oh, yes, Food Poppy. That's a new one.
Foodie? Question mark? Do you think of yourself as a foodie?
I guess so.
Oh,
I mean,
there's some trepidation there.
I mean, that's kind of always been like a cringe kind of word.
Tell me why it's cringe.
It just is from the beginning. I don't know. I think that's like what people who aren't into food call people that are into food.
Oh.
Like I feel like my mom would tell her friends that I'm a foodie.
Does your mom tell her friends that you're a foodie?
Pretty sure.
What else does your mom say about you?
She probably tells them I have a big Instagram account or something like that.
So you were posting around 2012 and beyond. Like, you've sort of tracked the foodies on social media of the last decade plus. Like, what do you think? How do you break down like the early foodie history that you saw, at least in social media or in your travels?
Yeah, no, it was interesting. So I was thinking about it today. The term influencer didn't even exist in the beginning.
What do we call them? Like tastemakers or something?
It wasn't even a thing when I started with Instagram. I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
So I remember the very first time someone called me that, and I was like, wait, what?
And when did you start
Not that many.
being noticed as like an influencer?
Probably in the early days of Food Baby, because there was like a ton of press that would come out, and then people would kind of recognize us from that.
What was the trajectory of that account like? Was it like exponential growth or just steady over time?
It was pretty. It's funny because even back then when you got like a big feature, like there wasn't that much following happening, just like the way it is now. Like you can post one video today and get 10,000 followers immediately, and it wasn't like that back then. It was a lot slower, but I think it was still. Most of the growth was in the beginning, I guess, but steadily over time.
Okay, so you're starting to blow up on Instagram. What year is this? Where does this put us?
I think a lot of the press and stuff was in 2015, probably.
And then what is the scene like? Who are the other food influencers in this scene? Do you hear the word foodie being tossed around?
Not really foodie. Like I said, I feel like people that are doing it don't really use that term that much. I think it's like outsiders that aren't like living and breathing food.
Because it's weird to call yourself a foodie? Is that what you mean?
I always thought of it as cringe. So
Yeah.
I never call myself that. But I accept that that's what people think of me as that aren't into it.
You accept your fate as a foodie.
I accept it, yeah.
Because you like went to Smorgasburg and like ate the burger with the ramen buns.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And the teardrop. Remember the teardrop, the raindrop cake?
Oh,
my
yeah,
God.
Of course I do.
Yeah. Wow, we were just simple little back then. No,
Ew.
it's true.
Yeah.
But it felt newer back
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
because of the sort of like growing of social media at the
Yes.
time.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
the difference.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me that even back in 2015, people didn't really use that term proudly. I guess that's what you're saying, but to me, 2015 does feel like a cringe time, so it just seems like people
It's
would have
cringe
used
now.
that term.
Yeah.
And I feel like I did used to see that term a lot more, at least back, around 2015, less so nowadays. Maybe it's just gotten more and more cringe over time.
Well, I think of the word foodie as spiking in like actually like 80s, 90s when it was coined. And that was like the first wave of sort of like snobby foodies, gourmet diners, perhaps. And then again in the like 2015, 2016 era when we were post Facebook, but early-ish Instagram. It wasn't so fringe anymore to use Instagram. And yeah, I think it's like, hey, look at this. I went here. I want to share it with you. and it says something about me if I'm posting the Dominique Ansel, Cronut. At that time, maybe it was a few years too late. Can you remember any other like foodie foods of the time?
I mean,
that,
maybe
got
a year
good
later,
engagement?
the Black Tap milkshake was
just
the
about
biggest.
to
my
say that.
God,
That was like the
yes.
big thing.
Will you explain what that is for people who don't know?
The Black Tap milkshake was I guess there was like a whole fight about who invented it too, right? But they started selling these over-the-top milkshakes that were just a regular milkshake in a glass, but then it was like frosted rim. They dipped it in like cereal or
Yes.
God knows what, and they put a whole slice of cake on top or a whole pie on top, a chipwich on top or whatever, and then that like just spawned so many imitators immediately, and they're all at different restaurants. I mean, still they're popular now.
Yeah.
Not at Black Tap really, but all over the place.
Would we be eating like outrageous milkshakes without Foodies?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Yeah, a lot of the crap that we eat now is because of Instagram and social media.
Yeah.
I think because these restaurants are making it specifically for that purpose.
Right. And do you have any feelings about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like most of that stuff.
Yeah.
It usually tends to not be very good.
Yes.
A lot of these inventions that are made just for that.
Do you think of yourself as an influencer, a critic, something in between?
Definitely not a critic.
Okay.
Because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Although I've seen you do some negative posts.
Yeah, we're going to push back on that one, Mike.
You'll go somewhere and be like, this wasn't actually up to snuff.
Yeah.
Which
I don't know if that
love when you
qualifies-
do
yeah.
that, frankly.
Yeah.
But
It's
to
fun,
me,
right?
that's a critic's thing.
Is that something you're doing more and more of? Because it's something I've only noticed really recently where you will kind of post negative things.
Yeah, some bad food lately in New York, I guess.
So what's the thought behind doing that?
It's more of like a news feed. So even if it's not good, I just share that this place is open.
Okay.
I think that's how a lot of people know if I like it or not too. A lot of times if it's not good, like I don't really like to be mean or negative.
Sure, of course.
Too outright negative to restaurants. So I'll tell people this place opened.
Okay, so you don't think of yourself as a critic. You do think of yourself as an influencer? Question mark?
I suppose, like I obviously don't really like that term just because of the
Why
negative.
not?
I
Because
mean,
we're talking the people who don't.
I mean,
take
everybody
bites?
talks influencers with good reason, I think too. A lot of influencers are annoying and
Sure.
entitled, and it's kind of a dirty word now.
So you've been around since really the beginning of foodieism, food pictures on Instagram. How do you think foodieism online has evolved since then? What's the scene now? Is it good for restaurants? What's happening?
That's a tough one. I think in the beginning it was very much it wasn't as stunty as it is now, obviously, because this stuff didn't exist. So I think in the beginning when I started, it was a lot more people looking at like the New York Times reviews, which is the constant, obviously. But it feels like you don't really hear about that as much anymore from this kind of community of creators and influencers. People just care more about like what's hot, what's new, and what's kind of the over-the-top stuff that people are going to want to get views on.
So you have these people nowadays chasing new things, new trends. It's more trend focused.
Yeah, I think so. Because then, I mean, I've talked about it with other influencers too, and then it's like, and even just as a consumer on the app, you see it too. Like once someone posts about the place, usually I'm like one of the first, which is not an accident, obviously. I mean, I've been doing it before this, so it's not like I changed my behavior for that.
Yeah.
But you just see like in a few days, like by now, Mommy Pies, now you see a reel of it. It's like, oh my God, I've seen it already a million times.
Sure.
Like who cares now?
Right.
It's kind of almost like that, where like every single person posts the same exact content after like a week.
Yes.
So
Or you
I think
can
that
tell-
drives the behavior a little bit too of a lot of the people.
Is that having some kind of impact, do you think, on the restaurant scene? Is the restaurant scene adapting to that in New York City and beyond?
I don't know if the restaurants are adapting to it, or I don't know if there's anything they can really do about it. But I know that for sure that like a lot of people now talk about like, and all these same content from all these influencers, it's always like, once the line dies down, you should go check it out, because that's what's going to happen. Like there's going to be a huge line for like the first 2 weeks, and then it'll be like, nobody cares about it anymore almost. Or like, I mean, the good places, yeah, they'll still be crowded, but definitely a lot easier to go to after like the first, after everyone's reel dropped and a few weeks pass.
So, Mike, before we let you go, I want to ask you, do you think Foodies need a rebrand? If so, how do you see that rebrand going?
I think so. I think we need something to weed out the people like we were talking about that don't really care about the food, that are doing it just for the social media aspect of it. So we need some kind of way to weed those people out, because they don't really care about food.
Mike, this has been so fun.
I
Thank
agree.
you so much for
This is
joining
a good
us.
time. Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you out in the wild.
If you're enjoying this episode, be sure to follow, like, subscribe to Restaurant People on YouTube and all your preferred podcast platforms so you never miss an episode.
Joining us on the ham phone, we have co-host of How Long Gone, Jason Stewart, self-proclaimed foodie, I think. Jason, thanks so much for coming to talk with us.
Thank you so much for having me and answering my ham call, you guys.
We answered the ham call. We did.
We always answer.
We always answer the ham call. So you are a foodie? Would you identify as a foodie?
I think so, yeah. I would identify as a foodie. I mean, call a spade a spade. I'm an influencer. I'm a foodie. I'm a podcaster. The three most embarrassing creative paths one could take.
You reference restaurants a lot on your podcast. It sounds like you're going out to eat a lot in LA.
Yeah, we go to a lot. My co-host lives in New York. I live in LA. He doesn't cook at all. I cook pretty much every day. So I'm a little past the I'm like a retired restaurant goer. Mm-hmm. I just kind of go to little local neighborhood spots, but it's rare that I'm chasing the new trendy thing. But when I come to New York, I try to visit some new little hot spots and things like that.
What are some of your associations with foodies and foodie culture? Like just spitball, like what are some nouns you're thinking?
I called myself like a food enthusiast for a while because just to try to say anything but foodie, but it is what it's just kind of like the word hipster. Like it's had so many iterations and ups and downs over the years. You're like, what does it even mean anymore? Like, is it good or bad? Who even knows? It's just kind of like a regular word in our lexicon that's sort of neutral. But I mean, yeah, I'm a card carrying foodie at the end of the day. It is what it is, and I think there are subgroups of foodies now now that so much of eating seems to be based around content creation and to push one's personal brand forward versus like enjoying food.
Yeah, the social media foodies, that's what we call them.
Yeah, I agree with you that they're like, yeah, there are tons of just subtypes of foodies. We are, of course, foodies. You're a foodie. Are there any foodies that a type of foodie you don't necessarily want to be associated with?
People that review food in the car feels dystopian, it feels a little dark.
Do you believe that foodies need a rebrand?
I think it's like beyond a brand. I think it's just like a utility in our life. It'd be like if you rebrand the water company. It's just like, yeah, whatever.
It's still water.
Like, yeah, it's like, where it's just going to be here forever until we die. And I think like when everything else collapses, like the entertainment industry collapses and all that stuff is how, the housing market, we're still going to have food content.
We're going to have foodie.
It's going to be like it's going to be the last thing you watch on your phone as you die.
Foodies are cockroaches.
In an ideal world, what's next for foodies? How do you see foodies going forward, marching into the future?
I think fellow foodies marching in the future, we should, number one, learn how to cook and appreciate how food is made and how things that happen in a restaurant cannot happen in your kitchen because you're not good enough. Number two, we also have to go to restaurants and vote with our dollars, even if we are home cooks, even if we're really good at cooking and restaurants are too much money, we still have to go support them because they are sort of the reason why this is all happening and why we love the food that we're eating and cooking at home. So I would say be a little more judicious with how you're voting with your restaurant dollars. Mm-hmm. If you think a restaurant is dumb, don't go to it. If you think that it's some trendy bullshit and it doesn't seem like it has the right essence or spiritual aura to it that you want to support, let them go out of business and then spend your money on places where the people that work there and the people that seem to own it are good people that deserve to make a living doing what they love.
Wow. Jason Stewart, everybody.
That all sounds very great and reasonable. Before you take off, do you want to let our listeners know where they can find you?
Yeah, you can listen to my podcast. It's called How Long Gone, available everywhere you can find a podcast. We do 3 episodes a week, interview lots of random people from Nancy Silverton to Lena Dunham and all the way back. And you can follow me on social media at themjeans.
Thank you so much, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Be sure to check out our incredible reviews and guides on theinfatuation.com and at Infatuation on Instagram and at The Infatuation on TikTok.
So we talked to some foodies with heartbeats, actual foodies. Jason thinks foodies don't really need a rebrand. What's your thought on that?
I'm inclined to agree with Jason because, I think, like I said before, any term we come up with is just going to need another rebrand.
But isn't that the fun of language?
Yeah.
I'd like to show you some of my ideas.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm pro rebrand just because I don't really like the term foodie.
It's not nice to say it out loud.
It's not great. It sounds a little ridiculous, but maybe that's a me problem.
It might be a you problem. Well, it's an all of us problem.
I would love to hear some of your alternatives, and I'll let you know if they're any good.
No,
I'll
please.
be very
I want
honest
quick, live. No, I want your reactions. Don't hold back. All right. Eaters plus.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Food neophiles.
I like that more than Eaters Plus for some reason.
No, that makes
so
sense.
So that's the current king of the hill.
Okay, we got some ideas from our editors and writers. Dish heads is an idea from Nick in Chicago. Dish
okay,
heads.
Nick.
Dish
How do you feel about
kind
that
of fun.
one?
I kind of like it.
Dish heads.
Dish heads.
What's up, my fellow dish heads?
What's up, dish heads and dudes? What's up, my dishy Ds? Okay, here's another one from Amy in Seattle. Gastronomers.
Like gastronomy.
I don't know.
That's too close to like a terms we already have.
Here's from Sonal, the editor of New York City. Gastronauts.
Gastronauts. I actually think I've heard that
you have
before.
Okay, yeah. So far, dish heads is my vote. The last one that I'm kind of excited about. Feinschmecker.
Feinschmecker. Is that actual German?
It's the
that sounds
German.
like actual German.
It's the German word for someone who appreciates food and drink.
Feinschmecker.
Feinschmecker. Oh,
We're gonna offend some Germans.
that's okay. It's all right. I think if someone called me a Feinschmecker, I'd be like, yeah. Absolutely.
I do like Feinschmecker.
Feinschmecker.
More than foodie for sure. So that beats out foodie for me.
Okay, so then the last idea. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Restaurant people.
That one, I think, honestly, before we started this game, that would have been my pitch for the rebrand. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Something about that term really resonates with me.
Maybe because you're a host of a podcast called Restaurant
I don't know
People.
what it is. Something about that term really resonates with me. But also, it's straightforward. It's no nonsense. But then, could you see it being just like this derogatory thing that people shout at you in the future?
Hey, restaurant person.
Get off my stoop! Hey, restaurant people, get some bigger plates. Stop eating such small plates.
Yeah, what do you want to yell about with restaurant people?
Hey, restaurant people, stay away from my crop of Jimmy Nardellos. Leave my Zerbanati melons alone. Zerbanati melons are so hot right now.
Choke food. Too many choke foods you've had.
Stay away from my Bonnie melons, restaurant
Hey,
people.
restaurant people, give it a rest with the Sabayon.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
I could tell you were a restaurant person as soon as I saw your Clamato tote bag.
As soon as I smelled the prosciutto di Parma on you.
I'm going to go dish head, restaurant people.
Let us know in the comments which foodie rebrand you are most excited about and why it's dish heads. Everyone's a foodie. Grow up. Admit it. If you like food and restaurants, if you think about food in a way just beyond the swallowing of it all, in a way that's just beyond fuel, you're a foodie. And just accept it.
If you think about yourself who is someone who not just needs food, but loves food, you are a foodie. Even if you especially like food, you're a foodie.
But just foodie responsibly, you know? Like, tip nicely. Treat your servers well. Don't be a
Yeah.
I'm Hannah.
I'm Bryan. Big thanks to Mike Chau for joining us and Jason Stewart as well.
Thanks for joining us, all you foodies, all you cutie foodie Feinschmecker eaters. This was Restaurant People, a show from Infatuation.